you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
It is almost here. Splinterlands Christmas is just around the corner. On December 5th, Splinterlands is releasing its next major set, the Rebellion set. And wow, it is going to absolutely change the game, change the meta. Not only does Untamed rotate out of Modern, so we're bringing in a whole new set of cards, we have new abilities, we have new tactics, a whole new phase of gameplay that we haven't seen before. So here in a couple days, the game is going to look a lot different, particularly in Modern, than it does right now. So what I want to do in today's video is look at some of the Chaos cards that I believe will be the biggest beneficiaries of the Rebellion release. So these are some of the cards that I think might be a little more valuable in a few days than they are today. And when I say valuable, I'm talking about gameplay. I am not making this video with any considerations for what the current market prices are. The market may have already priced some of these in. I am not factoring that in. When I'm talking about increased value, I'm talking about gameplay value. These are cards that I think you might look at playing a little bit more here in a few days than you have been right now. So what do I have up on my screen right now? The first cards I have are weapons training cards. These are not necessarily cards that are going to increase in monetary value because they're soulbound, just for evidence that I'm not factoring in financial value here. But weapons training gets a huge buff. It gets 3 buffs here. First, it can no longer be dispelled. Second, it is going to, the attack is going to remain even after the weapons training card disappears. So previously, if the weapons training card disappears, the cards that have been weapons trained lose their attack. That will no longer be the case. And third, they will now grant their full attack value up to a max of 3. So some of these cards that had 2, 3, 4 attack are actually going to grant more attack to the weapons training cards, to the cards with no attack, than they have been previously. So pretty much all of these cards are going to see a pretty huge benefit. The only one of these that is not soulbound that you can buy is Zyrael. Zyrael is definitely a card I wish I had acquired earlier. This is becoming one of the better cards in the game. Weapons training is going to be huge. And it's not just the weapons training cards that see the benefit. Obviously, if we come over here, these cards that have no attack, they're the ones that gain weapons training. And I think the one that gets the biggest boost is a card that is already super powerful on its own. Bakjira here. Bakjira is an absolute monster. Anybody who's played against Bakjira knows how good of a tank Bakjira is. Bakjira can frequently win battles on his own, even though he has no attack, just by surviving through the whole battle and outlasting the opponent in fatigue. Well, now you can give Bakjira permanent attack that cannot be dispelled, cannot be removed. It brings in a whole new way to play Bakjira. Normally Bakjira is a tank up front, right? Well, now what if you put Bakjira, okay, let's say you put Bakjira in the back. Good anti-sneak card. Give it some magic attack back there. Maybe even some melee attack if melee can attack from the back line with a rule set, whatever the case is. And now imagine Bakjira's got some magic attack, and as the battle goes on, cards get whittled down. He comes up to the front. Now you've got him up front with a heal, with an attack, and you expect the opponents that have theoretically already been whittled down as well to be able to get through Bakjira at the end. That is very, very tough, and because he can attack at the end, he retains his attack. Even if he's at the back line, once those cards in front die, he still retains that magic attack. He can continue attacking on, or even if you just use him up front as a traditional tank, or put him in the second spot with a melee attacker in front, because we've got things like flank or reach. There's already a reach card here. Oh, we've got a new summoner, by the way, that can give Bakjira a shield, make him even more tanky. Bakjira is going to be a major problem with this weapons training that cannot be removed. Venari Heatsmith's a card I actually like quite a bit. I feel like that's one of the most underrated cards in the game. Very good anti-sneak card in the back with that Thorns plus Amplify combo. He's going to be a beneficiary, but this Mirdali Guardian, already one of the best support cards in the game, gets even better. Scavo Hireling, I think it's going to be a card that gets used a lot more. It's already a very good card. Chaos Agent. We've all seen Chaos Agent out there. Riftwing, Pelacor Conjure. All of these are kind of cards that are already good that are only going to get better. Even some of our new reward cards. Idri Fire. Could see some nice benefits. So, if these cards with no attack are going to get stronger, you know what else that means? The counter to these cards is also going to become more important, and we don't have a lot of them here in Chaos. But Oppress, even if these cards gain attack, Oppress will still work. Oppress deals double damage against cards that have no attack, regardless of whether they've been given attack through weapons training or not. So there are 3 of them here: Vampiric Blossom, Sukari Harvester, and Magi Necrosi that you could go acquire on the market. The others you have to earn from playing. Actually, Magi of Chaos is another one you can get. I'm sorry. We've got 4 there. These Oppress cards are going to be very nice. The one I like the best, that I see myself using even more now, is this Magi Necrosi. Because a lot of times I feel like you definitely have some instances where you have a melee attacking card up front. Or you've got a card that has no attack that's been granted melee up front. Oh, for example, maybe we come over here. We're on the MAV server now. This card I expect to be a common tank up front. Olandin Overseer. Lots of armor plus health. Then give it some attack with weapons training. But a lot of times I think you're going to see, especially the ones with lower health, you're going to see them in the middle of the battlefield, where they might be susceptible to snipe. You hit some of those cards. If we go back to these no attack cards, let's get out of Oppress. You get some of these. I mean, your cards are like Scavahiron's got camo, he can't be hit, but Chaos Agent. Your cards like Murdali Guardian, even Clockwork Aid. If they get hit by 6 magic damage, that's done. They're one shot. You can one shot a good chunk of these cards. Scavo Chemist, Evelyn Avira, can never pronounce any of these card names. But that I really like that Oppress Snipe combination. I think that's going to be a card that we see a lot more of here down the line. So, all right, moving away from the weapons training, no attack type cards. I think the other main kind of gameplay change is going to be the use of cards that are glass cannon type cards, because we can get their attacks out earlier. There's going to be kind of two main things. The first one is Ambush, our new dragon summoner. Come over here. Let's go back. We're gonna look at our new dragon summoner here, Rebellion Summoners. This guy right here, Kane, grants Ambush. Ambush allows you to take an attack before the start of the turn, before round 1. And you can give Ambush to 2 units. So you can give any card Ambush. So you take a look at some of these glass cannons, you put out a lot of damage there, and now you can get them attacks earlier in the round. So some things that I like are definitely some of our double strike cards. Coastal Sentry, Grund. We saw our big tank up there that had flank too. So you can also get these big melee attacking cards to attack from the second spot. Kind of like we already see with Coastal Sentry when you give it reach. We've got our Possibilis, our legendary summoner that can do that. It hits really hard. Well, now you can do that in any of these elements. You can get Grund out there in the second spot, get him a big double strike attack. And the trample also works pretty well as well, because you get to give 2 cards Ambush. So let's say you've got Grund in the second spot, you can put him in that second spot, and then you can kind of survey the battlefield, because you can see what your opponents put out there. You can maybe, if it's okay, Grund can one-shot this card by himself that's up front. Well, we'll make sure Grund is the fastest card we give Ambush to, so he can get that trample off. Or maybe we need to do X amount of damage before Grund takes his turn so that he can get that trample off. Well, do I have any cards in the back line that can do that damage before before Grund hits. And you can kind of survey the battlefield there, make your choices, and increase your odds of getting a trample. Or maybe not even on the first turn, but maybe on the second turn. You can kind of run a little mini battle simulation in your head and increase the chances of triggering that trample to get Grund even more damage. So I really like the trample there as well. Even like in the lower mana battles. Damn Fair Infiltrator. Double strike, get some Inspire out there, and it can do 6 sneak damage before the battle even starts. Possessed Puppet. I mean, there's a card with that double strike that I feel like I haven't used that card too much. But now put in opportunities where it can attack and let it get 8 attack before the start of the battlefield. I like some of these Glass Cannons. It doesn't have to be double strike. Let's come over here and sort by attack. Jared Scar is actually going to trigger 2 abilities. I like the True Strike ability as well. We'll talk about that here in a second. Jared Scar is another one of those kind of Glass Cannon cards. I think he's got a very good, if we go over here, let's go to Rebellion. There's not a lot of flank cards out there. We do have some. Let's take it off the summoner on units. This Silverblade Fighter. Put Silverblade Fighter up front. Put Jared Scar next to it so it can attack in the second spot. That's a pretty good 1-2 combo for only 13 mana. And now you can let Jared Scar attack, try and get some of that Bloodlust, build that up. You can give him ambush if you've got that Dragon Summoner. Desert Dragon is a big hitter. Has that giant killer, has that trample, that piercing. You guys have seen me show off Desert Dragon on stream quite a bit before. Any of these big hitting cards can really benefit with that ambush. Mortius, big hit opportunity. That can be nice. And it doesn't have to be melee damage though. Magic damage? How about Chaos Dragon? Giving Chaos Dragon some ambush. Letting it spray that magic blast damage out. Kane Haste. Another one that I don't have. I'm missing the legendary Riftwatcher airdrops. 5 magic blast damage to start the battle. I think we've got some big range attackers in here too. Some more that have True Strike, which I think is going to be fairly important. But I really like that strategy of using the Dragon Summoner, giving a couple cards ambush and just throwing some big attackers out there and letting them do 10, 15, 20 damage before the battle even starts. And the battle can be over before it begins sometimes. That can be such a huge play. So, why do I like True Strike? We talked about True Strike. I actually like True Strike because one of the biggest changes is not what we're adding, but what we're taking away. We are removing Kitty. And I think that is going to see an increase in dodge teams. The biggest counter to dodge teams is Kitty, and just the threat of Kitty being out there a lot of times prevents people from running some of these dodge teams, because Kitty gives everybody True Strike and gives everybody speed as well, and the dodge teams just don't work against Kitty. In Modern, Kitty is no longer going to be a factor, so that's actually why if we come over here, I like go to our summoners, Sispa. I feel like Sispa gets a huge boost just from Kitty disappearing, because that's a dragon card, and it's a dragon card that it's phase. You're basically increasing your dodge rate. And one of the biggest problems with Sispa, and the reason I haven't run Sispa a lot previously, is just because it's hard to choose Sispa over Kitty. Kitty was just so much better. Kitty's so powerful anyways. And then running a dodge team when dragons were an option and the Kitty was there, just didn't want to do that a lot. You guys know I love to run my dodge teams, but I'm usually doing them when I'm usually choosing those when dragon is not an option, or else I'm gambling that Kitty's not going to be there. So I think this gets a huge boost, And that's why I like True Strike. If we go back to, let's go back to some of our True Strike cards here. We can find that ability. I love the ability to search for abilities in game here. And you'll see some cards that we've actually already mentioned. Jared Scar. Ancient Redwood's one of the highest ranged attack cards. Exploding Rats is another glass cannon type card that I don't think I brought up earlier, but it fits. Has that True Strike, has all that speed. But cards like Rooney, cards like TIE Biter, Celestial Harpy is already a good card. Throwing in some of those cards can really help counter a dodge team that's relying on dodging everything. You throw True Strike there, it completely throws a wrench into those teams. So I think we're going to see dodge teams increase. So I think the value of True Strike cards can kind of go up with that as well. So, all right, we've kind of got to run through some of the abilities I like, some of the initial strategies I think we're going to see. There's going to be so many more, but it's going to be so hard to predict. I cannot wait to see how everybody changes their gameplay as we go forward. So let me know, what cards do you have for Chaos that you are super excited about using in Rebellion? Whether it's the new abilities or the removal of certain Untamed cards that were a counter to your strategy, or some Chaos cards that might replace Untamed cards in some other strategies. There is definitely a lot to consider, and it's going to be so much fun. So, December 5th, I unfortunately will not be able to stream as soon as it comes out. I will be at work, but I will be home in the evening US time, about 8 p.m. Eastern or so-ish. As soon as I get home, we're gonna open up a bunch of packs. We're going to stream. We're gonna play. I don't know if I'll be playing gameplay, if I'll be playing the market to try and build my deck. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be doing it on stream. So come follow me on Twitch. I'll see you guys there. It is, as I've been calling it, Splinterlands Christmas. One of the best times of the year for Splinterlands. Getting all of these new cards to play with. I love it. I'm excited to see you there.